Hi, I'm Eric, Chief Community Officer at Teal. Is a new company. We started last November, and we're a platform for career growth. So we help you search for a job, help you find and that you love, and then help you get started and sort of grow your career once you have a job. So we've been working with a lot of jobs over the months and want to share some of what we've learned. I myself have been a job seeker recently. Before I joined Teal last year, I was for work as well, and it was hard, even in a best of times in terms of the job market. It was difficult. It's a competitive market there, especially now with so many people at work. Entire industries upended. It's really there are things you can do to help you stand out in a competitive market, and I want to talk through some of those today. So I think the main thing to sort of have in mind when thinking about how to stand out is the sort of mind of a salesperson. So you are now a salesperson, and selling is yourself. And especially if you have a sales background or don't sort of things, as a primary responsibility in your that's hard. I don't like talking about myself. It's not my favorite thing. I worry that I'll be too promotional, to sort of be bragging, and it's hard. But we have to get over that. No one is going to sell yourself as well as you can, and that's your job now. Your job is to sell yourself and your unique blend of skills and experiences and achievements to potential employers. So think of yourself as a sales. So whether a sales background, even if you sell things for a living, this can still be difficult. Selling yourself is much different, but with that framework, you can really get set up for success. So the first thing a good salesperson is to really understand the product they're selling. So that's the first thing we want to focus on is really understand what is it you're selling. But what exactly does that mean? What is a unique blend of skills, of achievements, of experiences? What's your narrative that you're selling about yourself? What problems can you solve for your potential employer? What results are you going to deliver? What were delivered in the past? These are all things that really take work up front to understand before you actually go out and start applying to jobs and interviewing and negotiating and all of that. So do the work, and it is the sometimes that's hard, right? Sometimes it's hard for us to see. We're sort of too close to the product, too close to understand what are those that really stand out. So one thing I definitely advise people to do, and I did myself, was to ask friends, ask family, ask former colleagues, coworkers, vendors. Them, hey, I'm looking for a new job. I'm really trying to understand how to best sell myself, and I'm curious what how would you describe my best attributes to a potential employer? What would you consider to be my best skills? What I was really good at, depended on me for when we worked together. This may seem a little awkward, especially the first couple times you do it, but I think especially now, you'll find people are excited to help. If you're fortunate enough to have a great job right now, you want to help others because there's so many people out there that don't. And so I think, you might be surprised how eager people are to help and how willing and eager they are. Some of this really valuable insights into what it is that you bring to a role. So, ask people, hey, what would you consider top 3 skills? And that can really inform overall sort of sales approach and your narrative. Also, think about, okay, in past performance reviews, or even, thinking about just projects you loved and felt you over-delivered on. What was it that you were able to do? Or what were the things that people you worked with came to you and asked for help on? What were the things that maybe seemed easy to you, but don't necessarily seem easy to others? Those are your And keep in mind, we all have a combination of hard skills. So those are specific, expertise with certain, programs, with certain, vertical, things that we've learned through formal or informal training, through school. Those are sort of hard skills. But we also have soft skills. Those are interpersonal. Things, when we have to work with others, when we have to collaborate, when we have to negotiate, when we have to manage people, when we have to deal with, these are all soft skills. And increasingly, employers are recognizing that those are really important too. So sure, when you're sort of cataloging and achievement, your skills, that you look at both hard skills and soft. The soft skills, those will be things that you've had, just maybe natural capabilities, or things that you've improved on in your career. Most of those are interpersonal. So again, make sure you have a good skills and soft skills. This takes work. It takes self-reflection. It may not be a comfortable part for you, but really what it is that, what are the skills that you bring to the table, because understanding that and really getting comfortable with that is how you're going to be the best advocate for yourself. So, people struggle, I struggle, how to present yourself, how to advocate, how to, later on when it comes to negotiating, how to really talk about those skills that you have, that you're bringing to a new role and to a new problem that your employer is looking for you to solve. So write down all those hard and soft skills. Use the feedback from other people. Use self, understand what are those top skills that you have. So that's the first part of understanding this product of yourself that you're selling. There's a now that you have those skills, there's a few places they'll and this is why it's so important to do that work. Reflection to really refine that list at the beginning. So places those skills will show up, obviously on the resume. Your skills will be a lot of those keywords that show up. Keywords are really important on a resume, whether your resume is being read by a human reader, a hiring manager, a recruiter, a talent sourcer, or whether it's being read by an applicant tracking system or an ATS, right? So no matter if it's a human or machine reader, those skills, the hard and soft skills that you've identified, and that you understand that you're, have as both hard and soft skills, those are really important. So your skills will show up there. They'll also show up on a profile. There's even a section for endorsements and skills, and those are places where it's important to identify once you have, again, both hard and soft skills. Also in networking conversations. Whether formal or informal, it's really important to understand your skills so that you can really articulate and be comfortable articulating those things that you're good at. So whether you're talking with someone over text, over email, over DM, whatever, it's important that you're able to, concisely say, hey, here are the things I'm really good at. And then it'll make it easier for them you for a role or refer you to someone they know inside a company. So the better we understand ourselves and what it is we bring to the table, the more comfortable you're going to be asking someone to help you in terms of networking. Obviously, understanding your skills help when it comes to interviewing as well. It'll really help you stand out if you're saying, hey, here are the top things I'm really good at. Here are the hard skills that I've refined over my career so far. Here are the soft skills which come naturally to me, some of which I've worked hard to improve. But this is what I'm bringing to the table. Again, you're selling yourself, you're the product, you have to get comfortable articulating your skills and confident in what those are. So again, other ways to identify your skills, you can also look at things in your industry, looked at potential job postings, job descriptions that you want to apply to, what skills there may not have all. It may help may help you think of skills that you haven't thought of yet that you have. Things they're asking, oh yeah, I can tell you that's often a skill. So to record those and understand all of the different things you bring to the table, whether it's something that comes easy to you or something that comes harder for you. Other things to look at in terms of selling yourself, the next would be achievements. So in general, employers want to hire you for the job you've done. When we as are applying, we want to we're sort of excited about the job we're going to do at a, oh, that's a job I can do, that's a job I'd be excited to do, that job looks exciting, or that job will be a great next step in my career. As a salesperson, you've got to understand the people that you're selling to. So in this case, we're selling to a company, we're selling to a hiring manager, we're selling to recruiters, we're selling to potential and colleagues. And in general, companies want to, they want to lower their risk. They want to hire you for things you've already know. Okay, we're looking at this position, and we want to hire someone that's already proven with results and achievements that they can do that. So it's important to really understand that as you're selling yourself. So employers hire you for what you've done. And so the way we show that, with empirical proof, sort of as much backup as we can through achievements. So a lot of times on resumes, it's very natural to sort of when you're defining those bullet points for jobs you've had, it's very natural to kind of list off tasks that I'm responsible for. Here's things I did on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis. But that's not effective tool as showing, what are the you achieved, right? Achievement. So what are the results achieved, ideally with as much sort of data and specificity as possible. So again, the employer who's looking to fill a role, they want, they care about results. They want to be, has this person actually done this work before? Have they delivered, measurable improvement in a specific area? And so that as easy for them by showing we have done this before, and here's the sort of the proof. Here's the achievement that speaks to this role we're looking to fill. So I'll give you an example of sort of something that's less about selling your. So something very common to see on a resume would be maybe a bullet that says, I work team to increase website traffic. Okay, that's descriptive. It tells you a little about what you worked on, but it's not super convincing. So instead, you can you want to add sort of measurable metrics and results to that sort of bullet point, to that achievement resume for a specific job to really illustrate what you've done. So a much better sort of in terms of selling your achievements and selling yourself would say something specific like I grew engagement 100%, which led to doubling revenue in 3 months. Okay, in general, you want to include metrics, you want to include numbers as much as possible, right? You want to describe to whatever specificity you can what you were able to accomplish, you're able to achieve, in quantitative terms if you can, and qualitative. So really put as much detail as you can into those results. Going through the bullet points under each job on your resume, look for ways to work in those skills, the hard and soft you've already identified, and then also really in terms of achievements, look to see, can I make this achievement more measurable? Can I add metrics? Can I show that I really I not only worked with the tech team to increase website traffic, but I improved it by X%, or we saw a percentage increase in as much numbers, as much detail as you can add. Your case will be, again, the same way as if you were a salesperson selling a product. You want to speak to, okay, it's going to improve performance by this, or this air conditioner can cool a room of this size. You want to add specificity to those achievements and to those attributes. Same thing when you're selling yourself. So make sure you go through your resume with that in mind. And also, the most common place we see this attributes on a resume are sort of those bullet points under your employment history, but also you can work those into the summary section at the top. You can work them into a cover letter, perhaps into networking emails. So again, the better you prepare your materials and your sort of narrative and your sort of sales kit for selling yourself, the easier it'll be to sort of have those ready when you need them most. Important part of selling yourself is sort of your pitch. Your blurb. So a blurb narrative that really communicates your relevant experience and your relevant skills and your relevant achievements. So this blurb, we recommend creating it in a paragraph, form, having a sort of blurb is your sort of go-to that includes all of the sort of details in a concise way about what it is you bring to a role. So your achievements, your experience, and have that ready, because you'll find that blurb handy in a bunch of different places. So obviously your blurb appears, or a form of your blurb will appear on your resume in the summary section. You may not use the entire blurb, you may shrink it down a little bit, you may add in certain keywords, but your sort of narrative pitch about yourself and who you are and what you bring to the table will show up on that resume in the summary. Your blurb will also come in handy when it comes to networking. So again, when you're reaching out to people and say, hey, all this at the company you work at, would you mind introducing me? Here's a little blurb that you can forward, or here's a sentence or two about myself that you can pass along, or let me remind you, why I think I'd be great for this position. So usually in these circumstances, we talk about ourselves in format. The sort of the more upfront in developing this blurb, it's handy when you have an opportunity that's time sensitive. You don't have to create it on the spot. Also, this will another place the blurb shows up is LinkedIn about. That tends to be more sort of first person. So usually talk yourself. I did this, I did that. But again, it's the same blurb. It's the same narrative that's what the value, the relevant experience, the skills you have that you bring. So it's really important to work on that blurb, that pitch about yourself. Also, this will once you start interviewing, because one of the most common you get, and usually one of the first ones you get when you're interviewing, is tell me about yourself. That's your blurb. That's your narrative, your pitch about who you are, what you've done, what expertise you have, what you've accomplished, the achievements you have, the skills you have, what you bring to the table. Really work on writing that down, getting it on paper, refining it, feeling like you have a starting point so that you can then customize pieces and versions of your blurb in all these different situations. You'll find it come in handy, in all sorts of situations when we're looking for a new job or into a new role. I would also recommend really practicing your narrative. Practice recording yourself on video saying it. Find a friend you can practice with. Get really, really good at answering that question. So tell me about yourself. Oh, tell me what you've been up to. That will make your interviewing process much easier. You'll know you can nail that, those first couple questions when you're sort of describing and talking about yourself, hopefully selling yourself. You're in a or informal situation. I find that there's so much uncertainty in the world right now. There's so much uncertainty in the job market. In our professional lives, there's a lot of uncertainty. And really understanding your narrative, being comfortable and confident, and having a good that narrative about who you are, what expertise you have, what you've accomplished, what skills you have, and being able to really practice and feel confident and have it feel second nature, and really believe it and will come in handy all the time. Really focus on practicing your narrative, repeating it over and over. Again, the same way if you're a person selling a product, you would have your sort of elevator pitch, your longer, sort of pitch about that product. That would really be important to get down. You would practice it. You practice in front of the mirror, record yourself saying it. You practice it with a colleague. You go through sales training that would make it really good at telling that narrative It'll also make it easier for you to adapt that narrative to situations. So, there are different ways you can sort of cut through the clutter in terms of communication. So, if you have your narrative really down and feel comfortable with it, you can adapt it to different media. So, one way I've seen job seekers stand out is by sort of reach to hiring or to the recruiter, whether that's on LinkedIn or whether that's on email. The better you understand your narrative, the better you are at sort of delivering it, and the better the more and reflecting on what really are those unique skills and attributes and achievements that you bring to the table, you'll be able to find the right way to communicate that in the media. For example, we worked with a member at really good. They were in customer support. They got really good at their narrative, at what they were, what they had accomplished, what hard and soft skills they brought to the table, and they had to engage with the hiring manager on LinkedIn, and were able to direct message, send a call to the hiring manager on LinkedIn, and because of the industry and the sort of brand that they were, turned that narrative into an emoji bullet list, right? So they were creative. It was appropriate for the brand they were applying to, but they were able to translate their narrative and what they brought to the table into a fun, visually impactful message that ended up getting them the job. That was much easier because they understood their narrative and they put the time in to understand what it was they were selling in this case. And then they were able to figure out, okay, how can I translate to sort of an on-brand, appropriate message that will stand out a little bit. So the more work you do in sort of really understanding your narrative, your skills, your achievements, and what you want, the easier it'll be to find ways to be creative, ways to really showcase what you bring to the table. So we've seen in working with job seekers is someone who has an interview coming up, and instead of or in addition to doing the traditional practicing interview questions and things like that, they actually start doing customer research. So they have an interview and they actually go talk to customers, potential customers of that company. It took time, it took investment in terms of action, and in this case, talking with customers and understanding what they product or what the issues they had, but they were able to come to the interview with sort of prepared presentation about as customer pain point. This was an early startup, so again, they understood this was that this potential employer, and something that they were sort of uniquely skilled to the table. So they demonstrated that by actually going and doing a little bit of work to then showcase to the employer. That's not appropriate in all circumstances. If you understand yourself and what it is you're selling, your pitch, what skills you have, then you can figure out what's the right way to sort of stand out, right? What's the that can show off the value I bring to the person you're selling to, the hiring manager. So there's just a few examples of ways to really stand out when you're engaging with potential employers, hiring managers, recruiters. Other ways to stand out, kind of putting out your own sort of fishing line. The biggest sort of line, or again, thinking about this as a salesperson, thinking about sort of interest, our LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a large social network for professionals, so it's a place recruiters and hiring managers are always looking. So we want to make sure our LinkedIn profile really stands out and is sort of attracting the right leads. So again, put on your salesperson hat and think about what would your prospect, what would your target person that you're trying to we're looking for someone like you, what would you search for, right? If they were going to go on LinkedIn and try to find someone for a role you want that had your sort of unique set of skills and experiences, what would they search? What would they be looking for, right? And figure out, okay, how do I make sure I show up on that search? And actually, you can go ahead and do the search on LinkedIn yourself, and figure out, okay, is my profile as with the experiences, with the achievements, with the skills, with the keywords, with the sort of blurb, the summary at top, is that speaking to that type of search? So really try to think about setting yourself up so that you're getting those inbound, and so that if someone is searching for someone like you, they come to your page and then they really understand that you can deliver on those, again, those unique skills and experiences. Another way is with content. So again, putting I like to think about them as sort of fishing lines, or creators out there. Figure what could I write about? What of my either achievements, expertise, things you've worked on, or what sort of insights into the particular industry, sort of skill set where you are looking to highlight. What are things I could talk about, right? So whether video, whether I would figure out, especially on LinkedIn, like what are the pieces of content that that potential customer, the hiring manager, the recruiter, would be looking for, and really try to put yourself in their shoes. If I was looking for someone in this type of position, what type of content would I be really excited to see? What would catch my eye? What would prove to me that this person can sort of solve the problems that we're looking for this position to solve? So really sort of be about hiring manager or recruiter is looking for and ultimately trying to solve, and figure out, okay, what sort of insights can I show in a piece of content that will really speak to that. I hope this has all been helpful. Understand how to stand out from the crowd. I will the Q&A. You can always reach out to me, Erik, ERIK @TLH.com. I'd be glad to answer any questions. And I also just want to say I've been working with a lot of job seekers over the past few months post-pandemic, and it is hard for people finding great jobs, finding jobs, not just ones they need to take to pay the bills, but jobs they're really excited about and love, and having success in those. It is hard out there. It is competitive. There's more super talented, qualified people looking for work than before. But don't give up. Are finding the right jobs. Even people have been looking for a while, and we're starting to get discouraged. It just takes time. It takes investing in some of these things, understanding who you are and what you bring to the table, and you will find something. So have faith, have hope, and also I highly encourage you to talk about it with someone else. Job searching is super lonely. It can be isolating. There's even time of layoff and the pandemic. It can be stigmatizing. When I was looking for work, I didn't want to talk about it with anyone because I was embarrassed that I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. Nervous. But highly recommend talk to someone about it. It'll really help you out, and it'll probably help them as well. Thank you.